Hello and welcome to Open. I'm Brittany Albane, filling in for Rena Valentine, and for the next hour, we're inviting you to get social with us online. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV or like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. Competitive dance and pre-professional dance training comes with a hefty price tag, making it exclusionary to lower-income homes, which is why a number of notable names in the dance industry came together to create Share the Movement. Share the Movement is a nonprofit organization that aims to increase diversity in the professional dance community by providing financial, educational, and inspirational support to young BIPOC dancers. Joining us now to tell us more is dancer, choreographer, and Share the Movement board member Akira Uchida. Akira, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, we're so excited to have you here today. So, to start off, can you just take us through your journey as a dancer and how did you get to where you are today?
Yeah, of course. So I started dancing at 3, so I've basically been dancing my whole life. And like a lot of the dancers that we work with at Share the Movement, I started doing competition dance and I did multiple styles, jazz, tap, hip hop, ballet, all that stuff. And when I graduated high school, I moved to Toronto. I grew
Mhm.
up in Ottawa. In Canada. And once I moved to Toronto, I started working professionally as a dancer, doing a lot of commercial work and different film and TV projects and stuff like that. I started working as a choreographer as well in Toronto and kind of started transitioning more into that. And about 6 years after I moved to Toronto, I got my visa approved and I moved to New York. And I've been in New York since and have been doing similar types of work, like work on music videos, different live performance things, some film work and stuff like that. And I just do a variety of work like that and teaching. That's kind of been very brief summary of my journey.
That's awesome. And in a little bit, we're going to get into all the things Share the Movement, what do they
Mm.
offer? And with that, what did your training look like as a dancer? How many classes were you taking a week? Maybe competitions and conventions also?
Yeah, so I was training pretty intensely. I would say probably 3 nights a week and both days on the weekend. So at least like 5 out of 7 days a week and multiple classes a night. And so yeah, I was doing that and probably attending, I would say like 3 conventions a year, and on top of the competitions we would do as well with my studio, which was probably like 4 competitions. So it was pretty intense. I was very passionate about it though as a both a kid and a teenager, and so it wasn't like my parents had to force me to do that. I was wanting to do more and really be invested in it. So
Yeah, that's awesome. And I know you mentioned, your parents didn't force you into it, and this was something you wanted to do yourself. But with that, competitive dance is just such a hefty price tag. We're going to
absolutely.
break down the prices in a little bit. And then I experienced a little bit of that. And I'm sure a lot of dancers have, unfortunately. So with that, can you discuss a little bit about Share the Movement?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Share the Movement, we are a nonprofit that is dedicated to uplifting and providing resources and support to young BIPOC dancers.
Mhm.
And so, as you said, it takes a lot of resources and money to be able to do all these things in order to prepare somebody to be able to pursue a career in dance. And even if not, even just to be able to participate in this level of training, there's a lot that's involved in it. And often there are so many talented people that don't have the right support or information, and it's really a shame that those people don't get to continue the way they probably could. So our goal is to really provide that kind of support to this young next generation of BIPOC dance artists, and our goal is to really, through that support, create a new generation of dancers that will be working professionally and really seeing that impact within the industry as far as the representation and the diversity.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're also going to get into the importance of that in a little bit. But
Mhm.
can you just, for our viewers, can you tell us what your role as a board member entails?
Yeah, for sure. So, as a board member, my role is to participate in we have monthly meetings, and really the goal is to just check in on our mission and make sure that you know, it can go from operational things that we're doing, making sure that we have everything set in place for our different programs, or it can also have to do with more the longer term goals of where we're moving as an organization. I also specifically have a focus on the mentorship program, which I can talk about a little bit more. It's We really focus on pairing young BIPOC dancers with a role model in a way of somebody who is already working in the industry and has a certain level of success and information and knowledge that they can share. So my role specifically is also to focus that and on creating those partnerships and those mentorships and just overseeing all of that.
Right. That's amazing, and I think with Share the Movement, we're going to speak about all the amazing things that they offer, but mentorship is a big part of that, especially with increasing diversity in the dance industry, which is what Share the Movement's main mission is. It is to increase diversity in the professional dance industry. And just in the past few years, we've seen with major box office projects and, even some performances at award shows recently that we're still not there when it comes to proper representation. We're
Absolutely.
still, seeing people who are portraying a different race and ethnicity, and it's unfortunate, and it's decreasing the representation for these dancers. So can you just elaborate a little bit on the importance of an organization like Share the Movement?
Absolutely, yeah. As much as there has been some progress, as you said, it's not quite there yet, and we can see that. And so I think the importance of having an organization like us is that we are, as I mentioned earlier, really focusing on the next generation. And so the reality of this is that when these systems have been in place for so long, where there's just a lack of diversity and there's always the same, type of people being represented,
Mhm.
we can try to work on one project and have a different, have a very diverse group of dancers on that one project. But with most jobs, when it comes to dance, they're temporary. There's certain contracts that are longer, but I think really the larger impact is seeing further into the future and thinking more about like how can we cultivate something that will create an impact in many years to come, and that will be kind of the long-term impact. And so that's what we were trying to do, working on providing this information and support to these young dancers. And
Mhm.
I think a big part of that as well, it's not just the financial support and the education piece, but I think it's also just providing a platform and a way for these young dancers to see themselves. I think if there's one thing that we do that's probably the most important, it's that, because when you don't have and I it's already difficult enough to pursue a career as a dancer and to think, can you make it? But when you don't see anybody who looks like you that is doing it, it's really hard to have the confidence on top of this already really difficult career to go like, okay, I'm going to do this. And so I think through providing, through our community members and through different people that are involved with the organization, we provide a platform for young dancers to be able to look and see and find people that are like them, that are doing these really cool projects and things that they aspire to. And I think beyond all the other stuff, that to me is really key. I think that makes a big difference.
100%. Thank you so much for mentioning that, because I did want to discuss your community members. Now, something
Okay,
I want
great.
to highlight with Share the Movement is that your board members and your overall lineup of community members, these are notable names in the dance industry, so it really is giving dancers a chance to see themselves in these high spaces and think, wow, if they can do it, I can do it as well. And I think that's so important. So I do want to run down the line a little bit of some of your community members. You yourself have a stacked resume. Degrassi, Canada's Got Talent, just so many projects and so many professional projects. And you're accompanied by so many talented professionals like Britt Stewart from Dancing with the Stars, who is also the president of Share the Movement. We have Coco Iwasaki, who has also made her debut this season on Dancing with the Stars, Emilio Dozel from In the Heights, Comfort Fidoki from So You Think We Can Dance, and most recently, the Hip Hop Nutcracker, Tracy Strabata, who was in La La Land, and so many amazing commercial tours. So with that, can you tell us what the role of a community member is?
Totally. Yeah. So the role of our community members is really to be an ambassador of the brand and our mission in a lot of ways. We're looking for people that are BIPOC and working in the industry and have a similar passion for, creating this change that we are wanting to do.
Mhm.
So there's that. It's also about being a positive role model for the next generation. Their job is to share information whenever we have, upcoming scholarships, to share that information to just help spread the awareness about it and the opportunities. Beyond that, there's also the opportunity to connect with them through the mentorship program and in a more informal way sometimes too. If we know somebody is really wanting a specific, you know, information about something specific and somebody in our community has experience with that, it's we like to connect them and just help people get the access.
That's awesome. And that's just one realm of Share the Movement. Another realm of Share the Movement is the financial support, because
Yes.
something that Share the Movement did recently was they spoke to a competitive dance studio to break down the tuition of what a pre-professional dancer would be paying per year, and it was nearly $20,000 a
Mhm.
year.
Yeah.
And so it was things like tuition, that's $4,000 a year. And that's just covering your standard ballet, tap, jazz, ballroom, hip hop class. Then, you add competition, that's about another $3,500 a year on top of conventions and costumes and shoes and just everything that you need to be a successful dancer. And it is extremely expensive. Mind you, that's not even, um, you know, discussing the back end of the causes. So like gas, transportation, food,
Absolutely.
hair ties, everything. But another
There's
thing
so
is
much.
that this is not right. Is that this is not all year round, right? Competition season, it's not all year round, and sometimes even classes, which is why dancers look to do summer programs. So can you tell me just a little bit about the importance of a summer program and Share the Movement's summer scholarship program?
Totally, yeah. So I think what's special about the summer programs and why it's important as well
Mhm.
is that it provides an experience outside of that dancer's, usual routine. Like, of course, they're learning amazing things from their teacher at their studio and they go to convention, competitions, etc. But I think there is something unique about the summer programs because it's happening during a specific time of the year where that dancer doesn't have as much to focus on. They can kind of fully immerse themselves in this new experience, right? So
Mhm.
if it's during the middle of the school year, like I know for myself, even I was going to school all day, and then I was dancing, sometimes finishing late at like 10:30, 11. Then I have to do homework, and then I have to do that again. And so there's a different level of intensity and your energy is a little bit more spread.
Mhm.
Whereas in the summer, it's just different in the summer, right? Everybody's a little bit more rested. The student doesn't have to focus on the schoolwork and the other stuff. Hopefully, they can just really be present for that experience. And the other piece of it that I think is really important is that often those summer intensive programs are a way to connect with new dancers and to build new relationships, whether it's with the choreographers, teachers, or the other dancers as well. I think that's really key. It's often stepping them outside of their usual environment and really the duration of it, I mean, it depends. Some of them are 5 days, some of them are two
Mhm.
weeks. It depends. But because of that longer duration they tend to have, it really does give enough time to build a relationship with other people. And I think that's encouraging, right? Like if there might be a dancer who feels like they really want to pursue a career, but they don't necessarily have the same level of interest in their peers, which is okay. But that summer intensive could be an opportunity for them to meet other people like them that are also, striving and have maybe more information. And I think just connections and information is everything that can really uplift somebody. And often those summer experiences end up being something that really fuels someone and really creates this big change in how they want to approach things or move forward. So it's obviously every program is different, but they do tend to be very special experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Share the Movement, they just concluded their first round of scholarship applications. Then
Mhm.
there's still two more rounds for dancers who maybe didn't get picked in the first round. But after, they get their scholarship and they go through the summer program, can you just tell me a little bit of does Share the Movement follow up with these dancers? And overall, what does Share the Movement hope that these dancers gain from their experience and their time with the program?
Of course, yeah. Well, so after the summer intensive round happens, let's say somebody gets a scholarship or they don't,
Mhm.
there is always the potential to express an interest in our mentorship program. And so through the mentorship program, what we'll do is we'll connect them to an artist or somebody who's working professionally and who has, you know, we try to pair them with somebody who has similar, who is working on something similar to their goals. And
Mhm.
that way it provides this really beautiful opportunity to learn from somebody that they look up to and have a direct, communication with this person, usually once a month.
Yeah.
And so that's something that we can do for people after the summer scholarship rounds. Otherwise, we definitely do like to keep in touch with our community. It varies from person to person and depending on the person's interest, but we definitely do like to feel like, once that you have that scholarship, we're not just going to forget you and just kind of drop
Yeah.
you off the side. We want to keep in touch, know how you're doing, and we're still here to provide any help that we can outside of our regular programs as well.
Akira, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me on this matter. For more information, visit their website, sharethemovementnow.org.